Hello everyone! In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a moss pole for your climbing and vining plants. We'll start off with our materials. You're going to need a set of needle nose pliers, some squeaky old tin snips or any kind of cutting tool to cut the mesh, a plastic coated metal stake, which is optional, some nice long cut sphagnum moss, and hardware cloth, preferably plastic coated. Unroll your hardware cloth and figure out how big you want your pole to be. I usually make mine about 3 to 4 inches across. Once you've figured that out, you can start to cut with your tin snips. I cut right against the horizontal wire so that I'll have some length on one piece to curl around and hook onto the other end. Next, get your sphagnum moss. I find it's easier to work with when it's a little moist. Stuff it into your frame like you're making a big moss burrito. Make sure you pack it in tight enough so that it doesn't shift or drop. When you're ready, you can start to pinch it together, taking the extra bit of wire you left on the one edge and curling it around the wire on the other side. I've had good luck with this method, but you can also use string or more wire to tie your ends together. Once you get it started, you can just work your way along the seam, closing it up nice and tight. Next, we'll attach our stake. This will help stabilize the pole. For this part, I use metal wire and just intertwine the stake and the moss pole as good as you can to keep it from wobbling around. The more times you wrap it around, the more stable the stake will be. Once it's done, it should look something like this. Here we have our plant, and if you look closely, you'll see some aerial roots that will hopefully extend into our moss pole, helping the plant establish itself and begin to climb. Repotting is a good time to mount a plant to your new pole, because you can bury your pole in the new potting media. I don't like to bury mine very deep, but some people like to have the pole extend all the way to the bottom of the pot for stability. Once we have the pole where we want it, we can start to attach our plant. I like to use these extra long twist ties, and by putting a little J hook on the end of one, you'll have an easier time pulling the tie back through the mesh. Start at the bottom and work your way up. I usually do one tie on every other node. Don't twist too tight or you might risk cutting into your plant. The end result is a beautifully mounted plant that will hopefully root into its new moss bowl. Here's an example of a well-established aerial root system wrapping itself around the pole as it makes its way to the canopy of your indoor jungle. This is the plant whose roots we were just looking at on the right, and a plant of a similar age and the same species on the left that hasn't been mounted. You can see a clear difference in the size and maturity of the two plants. Looking closely, we can see the mounted plant is putting out fully mature and much larger leaves than the unmounted plant on the left. This is one of the most rewarding aspects of mounting your plants onto a moss pole. Here's a list of plants that will also benefit greatly from being mounted onto a moss pole. Good luck and thanks for watching.